Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth and Story, and I'm here to unbox this cutest ever little Marseille style deck. This is called the Marshmallow Marseille Tarot by the Wandering Oracle, and this is came out this year, 2017, by Wandering Oracle Press. I'll put a link below. This is the deck that Tom Benjamin uses in his new book. I think it's called Tarot of the Earth. I'll put a link to that as well because he uses this in that. If you're kind of new to working with Marseille, it's a workbook and kind of walking you through sort of figuring out how you're going to approach it. And so I'll put a link to that in the description box as well. And this is was #1 on my list of the decks that I was going to purchase in 2018 when we flipped the clock over into January. And this showed up in my post office box today from Mr. Chris as a surprise, and I was so excited to see this. So this is quite small. You can see it's about the size of Lenormand deck. I believe this would be a poker size. Let me get an actual, I've got a playing card deck over there I'll pull in one second. I'm going to pull it out. Here's got a kind of strange little box. I don't know. I've never seen a box with like a flap on the inside, but it feels, you know, it's going to hold the cards. It's going to keep them safe, which is good. Here, let me grab a playing card deck because I believe this is poker size here. Yeah. So this is a poker-sized deck, which is so amazing. And it's so funny because I was actually looking for, last night, I was doing a layered reading for myself, and I was looking for, I knew I wanted it to be Marseille, and so pip style with the Marseille pips, but I didn't have anything poker sized, and so this came in the mail this morning, and so I was just very excited. Clearly, here's the backing, which is gorgeous, pastel-y purple. It sets the tone between this pink and the purple. This is a deck that's very pastel colors to it, which is gorgeous. It reminds me in coloration, although it's a little bit bolder, of the I think it's the Fina della Torre. I think that has beautiful pastel colors to it. And there's another one that I have that's a remake of a deck that's done in beautiful pastels. One second. This is Los Scarabio's Tarot of the Masters, which is a reprinting of the Vachetta deck, which this is actually more pastel than the actual Vachetta. Of course, it has a cream, you know, old style background, but you can just see those beautiful pastel palette that is so gorgeous and so different in very often some of the harsher colorations that they had, certainly in some of the older Marseille styles. So this is based off of a Marseille style. Look how cute it is! I'm so excited about this. I've looked through the majors already twice because I had to show it to Patrick. And he's like, I told you about them. I'm like, I know. It was on my list actually to pick up at the beginning of the year. I just hadn't gotten there yet. So I love this. Le Fou. Just makes me so happy. So this is drawn in the style of a Marseille style deck, but it is not. This is not a recreation of an old deck. This is a modern deck that has been drawn in the style of a Marseille deck. But one of the things I really love about it is that one of the things that I personally, again, I'm sure there's some traditionalists that will be cringing, but one of my issues with some of the older woodcut style Marseille decks is the faces on them are just so, sometimes there's a whole deck of ones that have cross eyes, or they always seem to have like the way that they would draw the eyes, they look like they always had, all of them had bags around their eyes. Very often the faces just turn me off of some of the older style decks. Some of them are absolutely stunning, and those are the ones that I tend to lean towards. This deck has the sweetest, most wonderful faces. I'm so in love with the faces in this deck, and that's something that's important to me in Marseille style decks, as well as the pips being absolutely gorgeous, which is also important. So here we have the full, very traditional. I'm going to say this over and over again because it is a very traditional deck. You know, the style that we're seeing is very traditional to the Marseille. We've got the kind of cat dog. This looks more like a cat instead of a dog, going after the fool's bits, which sometimes in old decks are actually dangling there, getting ready to be grabbed by really sharp looking claws. I think it's one of the misnomers of some of these old decks that they were real prudish because they had a hilarious sense of humor. But a traditional fool card. Here we have the Battler. I'm not going to try to say these in another language. But here we have the Magician, which is very often in the older decks a street magician versus that accomplished magician that we see more in the Rider-Waite-Smith style of decks. But it's often either a street magician or sometimes it's a cobbler. So somebody who's using their hands and using all of their resources to create. But then with a street magician, you can often have that idea of the trick, more of a little bit more trickstery energy. Here we have the beautiful Pappas. So this would be the High Priestess in other decks, but she's got the more papal crown here. She's got her religious text, just beautiful. The colors are just so beautiful. I love this Empress. Again, look at how sweet her face is. She's got all of the standards. She's got the shield. She's got the everything. You know, she's just beautifully, beautifully done. The Emperor facing the Empress, as we often see. I love the green tones of those two. I wonder if I'm going to leave her out for a minute. Here we have the Pope card or the Hierophant card. I wondered if they would have similar color tonations, but you got the Supplicants here. Again, very standard, very true to original decks, but still kind of doing its own thing and being just gorgeous and beautiful and sweet. This one just gave me the giggles because here we've got, oftentimes we'll see either a man having to choose between two women or women trying to choose between two men, and she's like a big lady compared to him. Like, so do I take the one on the right or do I take the one on the left? It's so interesting. Sometimes it's the idea of, are you going to sometimes have a naked one and a clothed one? Are you going to choose sort of the more wise, sometimes older one, or are you going to choose, you know, the voluptuous, somebody who's going to be able to give you babies? Somebody else had noted that oftentimes is that choice between leaving the mother and going to this new, starting this new relationship as well. So there's many different ways you can look at that. Here we have the Chariot, which I think is gorgeous. He's got those little faces on. I love the faces on the shoulders in older style decks. Disparate horses here. Love this Justice card. Of course, Justice is a 8. This is a Marseille style deck. And I think she is beautiful. Again, just love the faces. Love the colors here. Love this Hermit. I love the lantern that's here. It's just a great little deck. Very traditional Wheel of Fortune here. We've got somebody trying to needs to climb back on the wheels. Looks like they're falling off completely. Again, just a traditional medieval wheel. Love the Strength card, or the Force card as it is often called, and that is at 11 instead of 8. Hanged Man. One of the nice things about these types of deck is just like, yeah, here it is. We have the traditional Death card. It is numbered very often. The Death card is not named. I'm sorry. It does have La Mort on here, and very often it is numbered but not titled. But we have that there. We've got the Harvesting of Bones going on over here. Very traditional skeletal Death card. Beautiful Temperance card. Again, I love the faces here. I love lots of, there's quite a few cards with red hair, which I love. Crazy Devil card. I don't know what's going on with his stomach. There's often faces coming out or all kinds of things. He actually looks a little bit pleasant here. Interesting, he's holding a sword and sort of a wand with a flaming girdle, and then he's got his two little minions over here. But again, quite traditional cards. I love that they're like splatted on the ground. Like they're down for the count. Beautiful star card. I love the different colors in the star. You've got the water and the land going on. Just very sweet. Beautiful coloration in the moon. It definitely stands out as being much more of a background color, darkening it versus the rest that are very white. You know, have white space around the images. This is much more filled in and gives you that darkening aspect, even while it still has quite a lot of color involved in it, which is really, again, traditional with the wolf and the dog. We have the lobster here. You know, just, you know, very... I like the crescent and the full here together. That's really beautiful. Sun, very happy that they're not children. We have two people here, successful people getting ready to face their life. I love that. And I have to say, the faces, again, in the moon and the sun, which I'm not a huge fan of, usually are very sweet. I like those. I can definitely live with those. A very pleasant judgment angel calling forth people from their graves. I love that we still have the butt cheeks, but they are at least not gray people like we often get in Rider-Waite-Smith style decks. Why are they have to be gray? I love her hair too. And then here we have the world card with the different creatures, the 4 creatures there, the wreath around. Just, again, beautifully traditional. It's just a sweet deck. And that brings us to the gorgeous minors. Now, I know that, you know, not everybody's cup of tea. Pip decks are not everybody's cup of tea, but they are definitely mine. And these are so beautiful. This Ace of Cups. I'm going to leave the aces out and come back. Look at this 2 of Cups. Look at that. Oh, and the 3 with the growth. Oops, I'm going to mix these up. 4, 5, 6. You can see they are numbered. So you would definitely be able to see if this was reversed, if you use reversals because of the numbers being there and being in that position versus facing like to the side. Sometimes they're facing sideways and then you wouldn't really, well, obviously the cups you would know, but these would be quite easy to tell if they were upside down or not. 7, 8, 9. I just love the 10. And then here we have the valet, or the page, the knight on his horse, the queen with the very strange robes with nipples on them. I don't know if this is supposed to be open, and they have they're just open-breasted, which there are, you know, time periods and times in which that was a fashion statement, but then they're always usually painted, even in the older ones, and it's so strange. And they're often very, if you look at nipples in older decks, they're like, one's up here, one's over here. At least these are both down. I just never can get that. It gives me the giggles every time. And then here we have the King of Cups with his very large cup. Love. My favorite suit in pip decks, especially older style, are the coins. And so here we have the ace, and then the 2 is one of my favorites that I always look for. So beautiful. 3, again, the growth. 4, stability. 5, something disrupts that stability. 6, things get reharmonized, 3 and a 3. We have the 7, 4 plus 3, stability. From stability comes growth. We have the 8, very structured there, 4 plus 4. This could get a little bit rigid, but it's also really, you know, a sense of completion, mastery here, and strength and stability. We have a number 9. Lots of energy, and number 10 here with that sense of completion. And then here we have the page of coins with such sweet faces. The knight, the queen, and the king. Wands. I love, one of the things I love about old style decks is the giant club wands. Like, they literally are clubs, and can beat you over the head with your fiery creativity. So here we have the ace. One of the things I do like is that we have the straight wands with the curved swords, so that makes it really easy to tell if you're looking at swords or wands. So here we have the 2, the beautiful 3, 4, you can see the foliage growing here, 5, 6, I think it's going back and forth between the 2, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 with that beautiful lattice work in the middle that I love. Here we have the page, the knight, the gorgeous Queen of Wands with her very giant wand. If you do not listen to her, she will beat you over the head. And the king, his is a little bit longer, but a little bit more wandish than her club. So we kind of have the club and the wand showing up in this court. And then, of course, one of my favorite suits of the swords. We have the hands here, as we often do. Beautiful. I love the purpley blues of this suit. I think it's gorgeous. Here's our 3, our 4, the flowers. This is just a beautiful sword suit. 6, 7, look at that. I love it. 8, 9, I love the crossed sword on the odd ones. And then the 10 with the cross in the middle. So gorgeous. The page, the knight, my Queen of Swords, who is so gorgeous. I love her. And the King of Swords. We also have, I noted, I'll have to see the other ones, we have black hair for the sword. You know, at one time, people would look at, okay, you're going to meet somebody with this color hair, and that by the different suits. That's kind of a holdover from playing card as well. And you can see here for the cups, they all do have red hair, black hair. Let's see, the coins, I'm guessing, are blondish here, kind of a blondish brown color. And then the wands are more of a brown, like auburny. So they do have hair colored coordinating with the quartz. So go zoom back out here. You can see I just kept the majors just to see that. Or the majors, the aces. It's just adorable. And I don't mean adorable as in cutesy, because it is not cutesy. It is just gorgeous and sweet and pastel-y, which I just, but a bold. It's not a, it's a bold, it's a vibrant pastel. That's how I would describe it. So let's give it a shuffle and see. Oh, yes. Oops, that was very poorly done, but that was not the fault of the cards. No, that's nice. There's actually, they actually are quite a nice feeling. It is not linen feeling at all. It's a smooth playing cardstock, but it feels really good in hand. It's a little stiff. It doesn't have a strong, and I'm sure that will break in. But it's great card, because again, you know, you're not usually having 78. So if this was a playing card deck, that I'm sure is not enough. But I'm just, you know, it's a nice card stock. I quite like it actually, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be bended. Yeah, it's stiff, so it doesn't entirely bridge well. I'm guessing that will break in, but. And that some of that's just me too. I've been shuffling larger decks, and sometimes when I swap over, my hands get clumsy because I've been shuffling other decks. But this size is so great. You know, I do a lot of 9-card readings, and make sure I put them right. And this is such a nice size for my table for 9 cards. They slide in really nice if you just don't bridge it and just slide it in. They slide in really great. They overhand shuffle really nice. It's not, it feels like really nice cardstock. I quite like it. So let's see what it looks like down on the table. Look at this. So you can see, and for a tarot deck, you know, it just fits, and I don't know if I'm zoomed all the way out. No, see, I have got a lot more row, but it is gorgeous. It's really beautiful. If I do my traditional, you know, this size is so nice for larger spreads in a compact space, which is so fantastic sometimes. And if you're mixing decks, you know, if you're doing, you want to do a little set of oracles over here, and then you're doing a reading over here, it lets you really start to layer some of those readings, where I have certain readings that really start to build on into a lot of cards. And so having a deck that is compact, even with larger cards, can be very helpful. So for example, if I do a past life reading, that's really nice and compact for my basic 5 card over there that I'm going to do, and it just lets me then spread out a lot more and gives me these small sizes are just really nice to have. So yeah, I am just so in love with this deck. Very much so. So I hope you enjoyed this look at it. This is probably a short one for me because that's one of the nice things about pip decks is, excuse me, they go relatively quickly. I will put, again, links for the Wandering Oracle as well as for, I don't know if Chris has done, Chris does videos as well. I don't know if he has done a walkthrough of this on his channel. If he has, I'll put that below as well. And for where to purchase it, as well as to Tom's book that uses this. It's about how to read with pips, but it uses this deck as the example cards in the book. So I'll put those below. But yeah, it really shuffles beautifully. I quite love it. So there we go. I just had to. I actually have some readings to do, so I can't dawdle. But I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough of this before, so I could shuffle it. I wanted to see how it was going to shuffle. But I didn't want to get it all shuffled in and then have to unshuffle it just to do a quick first impressions. So, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're all having a wonderful moving into the holiday weekend. So everybody keep your wits about you and keep breathing and have a wonderful day.